I worked in healthcare. I knew you could get help, but I didn't do it.
Lewis County 911.
Oh my God, please help us. Please help us. Somebody's trying to kill us.
What's going on?
Somebody shot my husband.
Somebody shot your husband?
Yeah.
How do you take someone's life and then go on with your own? I don't know how.
And my mom came in my room and she woke me up and said someone broke into our house and my stepdad got shot.
Okay.
I don't know if they're still here.
I never wanted to hurt anybody, but I am an honest person. I'm not a liar.
This is 33-year-old Jennifer Nibbe, the wife of James Nibbe. She is being questioned after a masked intruder broke into her home and shot her husband to death. As the detectives uncover the truth about what happened, they will begin to realize that the victim may actually be the killer. Jennifer Nibbe grew up in rural Minnesota and was quite popular in high school. She became pregnant at age 16 from a senior year relationship, but decided to keep the child because she always wanted to be a mother. She completed her schooling and enrolled in a nursing school with the hopes of giving her son, Brady, the best possible life. She later got a full-time job at a local surgery center and purchased a home and land in rural Blue Earth County, Minnesota. Her family described her as a strong-willed person ready to do whatever it takes for her son. And after some on-again, off-again relationships, she got married at age 30 to James Nibbe. James worked as a handyman and was employed as an apprentice, which means that, compared to his wife, he wasn't making enough money. While so, he had a passion for hunting, fishing, and kayaking, and even bought Jennifer a hunting shotgun of her own. On the surface, everything seemed quite well, until the unfortunate morning of August 31st, 2010, when Jennifer made this distressing call.
Lewis County 911.
Oh my God, please help us. Please help us. Somebody's trying to kill us.
What's going on?
Somebody shot my husband.
Somebody shot your husband?
Yeah. Please send the ambulance, please.
Okay, is the person still there that shot him?
I don't know. He left.
Is there anybody else in the house with you?
My son is not still. Oh my God, my teenage son is.
How old is your son?
He's just 16.
16-year-old?
Oh my God, I better rescue.
She rushes downstairs to her son and tells him that his stepfather has been shot and that she was assaulted.
Where in the house are you right now?
I'm in the basement right now.
Okay, is your son in the basement with you too?
Yeah, my son is in my basement too.
Someone here? Are you okay?
I'm okay. He shot me when I told you.
Shot you?
He shot me. No, he shot me.
Freak out.
No, you can't. You can't. He left.
The interesting thing is the deputy who responded to the call didn't need to know the address, as he knows the couple by name. When he arrived, he found Jennifer and Brady sheltering in the basement. She leads the deputy to her room, and along the way, the deputy notices how the furniture is out of place and that there are different items laying around. When they reached the room, they found James lying in bed with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. When the detectives spoke with Brady, he seemed confused and in shock because he was woken up from his sleep. He even had a shotgun, which he grabbed for protection just before going into the basement.
What happened out here today?
Well, I was downstairs sleeping, and my mom came in at about 6 o'clock, or maybe a little earlier, and I slept right through the gunshot, I guess. I had a gun downstairs. I have a 22 for hunting and stuff, and so I grabbed that and put some shells in there because I didn't know where he was at or anything like that. So I go upstairs, and she told me to wait down there, but I went upstairs and I just sat in the entryway, and then she was crying and stuff, and then we waited till the police got there.
Meanwhile, Jennifer was transported to the hospital for treatment because she claimed that she was bruised. When the police started their ground search, a neighbor spotted them and informed Jim's father that something had happened. He asked Jim's sister, Leslie, to check on him, and when her calls went unanswered, she drove to the house. The officer who had set the perimeter around the house broke the unfortunate news that her little brother had passed away. The family could not believe that a simpleton like James could be a target of a home invasion or an attempted murder. He didn't owe anyone money, he didn't have enemies, and he lived a picture-perfect life. Or at least, that's what it was on the surface. When the investigators searched the scene, they couldn't help but rule out the burglary theory almost immediately. None of the items were stolen, and there was no forced entry, leaving the officers to wonder who would want James dead. After a series of interviews with their friends and families, they narrowed their search down to Jennifer and Brady. In Brady's initial interview, where he described the incidents of that day, what he didn't mention was that after his mom woke up and told him about the intruder, he also called 911.
Where's Tony 911?
Hi, okay. I was sleeping, and my mom came in my room, and she woke me up and said someone broke into our house, and my stepdad got shot.
Okay.
I don't know if they're still here.
Okay. Well, we have your mom on the line, and my partner's getting everything that we need to get from him.
Okay, thank you.
From your mom. So we're going to get people out there as soon as we can for you, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, even though this provided a conflict of interest in his initial information, there was no reason for him to go after his stepdad based on the testimonials from family and friends. James loved him and even took his permission before marrying his mother. When the detectives asked Jennifer who she thinks could have done this, she described the masked intruder down to his voice and stature and mentioned a fellow named Paul Hallberg. Paul was Jennifer's ex-boyfriend and James's best friend. She claimed that he was jealous of their relationship and even knew the layout of the residence since he had been there dozens of times. After Jennifer and James's relationship began, Paul's friendship was over. If you've watched enough of these interrogation videos with us, you know that the chances of an ex-boyfriend killer are pretty high. So this was a solid lead to pursue.
I'm guessing, on the phone you kind of mentioned you kind of heard about things that had happened. What do you know about what happened?
I guess what I have heard is that, well, initially there was a home invasion and there was a murder.
Okay. How did you find out about this, Tubby?
The news.
Okay. When were you involved in a relationship with Jen?
I think it was like a year before they were married.
Before she married Jim?
Yes.
How long was that relationship?
2-3 years.
Did it end well?
Not very well, no.
Okay, how'd you know Jim?
He was just a friend of mine, I guess. Jim was always a good guy, and I never had a problem with him. It was always just kind of between me and Jen, I guess.
It's hard to exonerate Paul that quickly because Leslie claimed that Paul's family owed her money and that he might have been after her. This was later confirmed as Paul was grilled in the interrogation.
Tuesday morning. Do you remember where you were at?
Not exactly. I believe I was at work.
Even Jen had mentioned, in her statements, well, you really should go and talk with my ex because, I think he's somebody that you should really look into. And what I'm trying to do with you, too, is if there's a surefire way that we can verify where you were at that morning, it makes life a lot easier for everybody, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Paul reported that he was working in St. James, Minnesota, about 20-plus miles away from Jennifer's home. But it still wasn't far enough as the crime took place at around 6 a.m., giving Paul enough time to show up for work at 7:30 a.m. But while they were investigating this lead, the cell phone and computer records from the scene came through, and as soon as the detectives went over them, the direction of the investigation changed. It turns out that there were some messages exchanged between Jennifer and someone who should have been her husband but wasn't. This someone was Greg Nielsen, who had dated Jennifer in the past prior to her dating Jim. But the recent conversation showed that it was still ongoing. One of the messages was even about a meetup between the two prior to Jim's demise, which led the detectives to wonder if this was a two-person act of rekindling their love or not. By now, we have 4 suspects with motives, but all their motives are in some way linked to Jennifer. From Greg's interview, they were able to exonerate him. That is, after they realized that he had a girlfriend and a newborn baby, and that his relationship with Jen was, quote-unquote, never physical. Well, turns out the police just needed to look into the house more closely for them to realize that it was Jennifer. After searching Jen's residence, they uncovered financial documents that showed that they were behind on their house payments and credit card bills. They also uncovered Jen's personal diary, which gave us a window into just how unsatisfied and how unhappy Jen was. On top of that, Jim's boss Darren revealed that just a month before James's death, he revealed that he and his wife got a $250,000 life insurance policy. He also shared that it was something initiated by Jen, which he later agreed was a good idea. This was clearly not a coincidence. With all of this evidence gathered, Jennifer was arrested on September 10th, just outside her place of employment. She requested to talk to the cops after her arrest, which is when this interrogation took place. The goal for the detectives here, based on everything they found, is to determine whether she killed him or not, and whether she had an accomplice helping her through this vengeful crime.
The theme of the day everyone's told me that I've talked to.
Brady had this business. So it was the day before the wake. He ended up having this crap too.
How long did it last? Was it a while?
It was a good 3-4 days. He had a fever and stuff too. So, just a couple questions. Can I ask some questions or no?
You can, but what we have to clarify a couple things, Jen, just for the record, is that you initiated and told the jail that you wanted to talk to us.
Yes.
So that's why we came in here.
Yes.
And met with you. And then the other thing is, for us to talk to you at all, we have to read your rights because you're in custody now. So I do have to do that again.
Okay.
And if there's a question you don't want to answer or something like that, you never have to. That's maybe I haven't made that clear before, but I do have to go through that again. Okay.
Fine.
Bring them in mind. Are you willing to speak with us at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
For one thing for Monday is because the lawyer that I wanted to get, and as I'm thinking about things and things are going through my mind, if I decide not to hire this lawyer, you said, is one going to be appointed to me on Monday then? Is that how that works?
Right. If you decided not to hire a lawyer that you've already talked to, you can tell the court. You can either tell the court, I have this lawyer, or I have that lawyer, or I'm going to call a lawyer, or I'd like you to appoint me a lawyer, whichever. You just need to tell the court what your intentions are.
Okay.
Yep.
The second thing is am I ever at any chance going to be able to say hi to Brady or talk to him at all or anything?
I don't want to make a promise, but it's possible.
It's fine.
Court hearings are open to the public.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means family can come, anybody can come, for that matter. They're open to the public, and Brady is 16, so he would be considered old enough to come into the courtroom and be there. Now, generally, they're not going to let you go have physical contact, I don't think, with him is generally the way it works.
Okay.
Over video.
Oh, I see.
At the jail house.
At the jail. But I mean, up in court, you'd see him, but like if you tried to go have physical contact, they would probably stop you because there's always issues. And I'm not saying you would do this, but issues of if somebody's trying to smuggle something to somebody. So they've tried to avoid the contact. Yeah. So that's, I'm not going to say it's not absolutely not possible, but I'm not going to guarantee it either because it just kind of depends on some things.
What was you said homicide yesterday. What are my convictions?
You're not convicted of anything yet. You're charged.
Okay, what am I charged with? I never got a charge sheet or a charge.
The jail had a copy of it.
They have a copy of it over there.
Oh.
Maybe, did you ask them to see it or anything? Or
I didn't, I guess.
Okay.
We can make that happen too. We go
right, but I can tell you it's second degree murder is what you're charged with.
Okay.
That's
And what does that entail?
I think it's second degree intentional murder is what you're charged with. So that just means that you intended to kill somebody. It's if you accidentally shoot somebody, that's generally charged as manslaughter, for instance. Like if you're being careless with a gun, doing something crazy and it goes off, a lot of times you'll see guys think a gun's unloaded and they point it and pull the trigger and it's not. That's oftentimes charged like as a manslaughter because it was an accident, but you were still doing something that you really shouldn't have been doing. Then you'd be charged with manslaughter. Then the next step up from that is second degree murder. So, so that's the situation.
Even if she is inquiring about her charges, she didn't feel appalled at all. Not the slightest jump in her nerves. And keep in mind that this is the first time she's hearing her charges, and that too of second-degree murder. Honestly, it's going to be hard for us to take her emotional outbursts seriously, which will happen a lot as the interrogation goes on.
I don't know what to say. I just want all this to go away.
I know.
And I know it's not going to.
And I think sometimes it's what we're talking to you about without us knowing what exactly happened.
Like I said, I mean, we know about the drug stuff, Jen. Okay, if you're out of your mind on drugs, you're out of your mind on drugs. That's okay, but we need to know that and hear it from you, I guess, is the only thing.
I have an addiction to prescription pain pills.
Okay. When did it start?
I'm so ashamed.
It's okay.
I call prescriptions in for myself. I'm just so ashamed.
It's okay.
A lot of people have things happen, and a lot of people make mistakes. You're not the only person that's ever been addicted to prescription pain medication.
It's okay. Was there an event that kind of started that off, that precipitated that? Did you get injured or something, or just...
I injured my ankle a while ago. And, it got worse after... While we were dating that first year, it wasn't too bad, and then it was slightly before I think we got married that I ended up becoming addicted to them and needing to have them all the time, otherwise I would go through withdrawal.
Okay. What did it start with tramadol or start with something else?
No, it's just always been
tramadol. Because
Yeah.
that's not a commonly prescribed drug, is it?
It's not even a controlled substance.
Okay.
It's not even a controlled narcotic, but it has opioid effect.
Okay, so it kind of affects your brain the same way a narcotic would.
Yep.
Okay. And how much? I mean, how much are you using right now? How much had you been using on average?
180 pills a week.
Wow.
Which is usually 8 per day is the max.
Okay. And those are what? How many milligram? Like 40 milligram?
50.
50 milligram pills.
She was addicted to her prescription medicine, tramadol, which is only to be taken after an injury or surgery. According to WebMD, the maximum recommended dose is 400 milligrams per day. Well, considering that she takes 180 pills a week, each being 50 milligrams, that's almost 3 times the daily dosage amount. Her excessive consumption hints us further to the fact that she was quite unhappy with her life, and that James was the reason why.
Wow.
My life wasn't, this isn't how it was supposed to go.
Well, and it sounds like from some of the stuff we're hearing, for a while, you've been kind of carrying all the bills and that kind of stuff. So you've been under, a lot of pressure to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. I'm sure that doesn't help.
I never wanted to hurt anybody. But I am an honest person. I'm not a liar. And I've always taught that to my son. But I've become that person. I've become that liar that finding excuses why I'd be late for work and stuff, and a lot of it was the meds. A lot of it was the using. And I worked in healthcare. I knew you could get help, but I didn't do it.
A lot of people have to battle through stuff too, Jen. Like I said, it's nothing that anybody wants to talk about too, but you're not the only person that's had to go through that stuff. And it has effects on people where they do stuff that they wouldn't normally do. It changes them, It really does. We see it all the time. And prescription drug stuff is getting to be bigger than anything else, so there's a lot of people that have problems with it.
I can't face anybody. How do you face somebody when you've done something like this?
I know.
It was like I was there, but I wasn't.
Like you were not in your person watching yourself do something, and
saying it was the devil. Get rid of it.
Was there voices telling you that? Did you feel like you were hallucinating?
I don't know.
You hadn't slept all night, had you? I could tell that morning you looked like you'd been up for hours and hours. You've been taking way too many pills?
Yeah.
Do you ever
Way too many.
Do you ever crush them up? Are you ingesting them any other way than...
Sorry, I have some hair or something in my mouth. I usually just took them as pills.
Okay.
No, I never injected or anything like that.
Okay.
Instead of getting aggressive and following the Reed technique, the detectives know that she's remorseful and is planning to come clean with what's happened. They never once accused her of murder, yet she knows full well that she's caught. The only thing the detectives need to do is ease into questions that will become her confession.
To a ton of people, and we've talked to you, and I know you're not stupid, and I do not think you're stupid, and neither does Paul.
We've spent a lot of time talking together, and I don't think
we don't think you're stupid. This is a true story, and I'm just telling you this because I want you to understand that we're not these evil people who just think terribly of you, okay? But I had a good friend. We were very close for 12 years, partners at work, hung out outside of work. We were like this, okay? We're kind of like you and Carrie. You know what I mean? We're tight. And he had hurt his back, and then he had hurt his knee, both on work-related injuries, and he had gotten hooked on pain pills. He was taking oxycodone though, but same effect on the brain probably. And I had no idea, and he had gotten addicted, and he was doing the same types of things, internet pharmacies, taking all these pills, and it destroyed his life. It destroyed our friendship. He ended up losing his job. I mean, and he was out of his mind, and he was doing crazy things. And this was my best friend, and I'm like, this can't be. This can't be happening. I don't want to believe it, but it does happen because it controls you. Mm-hmm. And this is not a BS story. I swear to you, it's a true story. So I can't relate personally, like I can say I've been in your shoes, but I've seen it before. Okay, I've seen it before up close, and it's very powerful. And like I've said before, it makes people do things that they wouldn't do in a million years. And we can't. None of us can go back and undo what's happened. Okay? As much as you want to, okay, I know you want to, but we can't.
God, if I could give it back in our feet, I would.
What?
If I could give it my life, I would.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. You said something, Jen, that we can lie to you, and we to a degree police can, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, I promise. You have my word. I'm not. I hope you can look at me in the eyes and believe that I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. We don't want to do that. We don't need to do that. You said yourself, you've always been an honest person, and that, again, all the people we've talked to, your friends, your family, all say the same thing. Okay. You are of good character. Okay. You have no criminal record. You have worked hard to make something of yourself, and you've worked very hard to make something of Brady, and he is a great kid. He's number one in his class.
He is a good kid. Oh, yeah. God, he's a good kid. This is gonna kill him.
Well, no, Brady can survive this, okay? He can survive this. Okay, it's gonna be hard. Okay?
Nobody's gonna ever forgive me. I guess I can't blame them.
But sometimes they will, though.
I don't know that I would say that. I don't say that would necessarily be the case.
So if I plead guilty on Monday, what is going to happen to me?
That I can't tell you that. And again, I told you I won't lie. I don't know. Okay, all those decisions, our job, Paul's job, my job, we're not here to judge you. Okay,
I know.
It's only our job to gather the facts, to find the truth. And present that to the prosecuting attorney. They make the decision on charges, You know, the judge has input on, you know, all those things on sentence, and that's all, you know, that's all stuff we're getting, you know, the cart kind of ahead of the horse here, you know. But, you know, what I can tell you, that the only thing we can do for you is try and present your story fairly and accurately. And that's what I've promised people before, is I won't twist things, okay? I won't try to portray you as something that you're not, okay? I'm not going to try to just put spin on it, you know what I mean? I can promise you, that's the only thing I promise you, is that I can make sure that what is real and true and accurate goes forward. And if you present, I mean, I would never go to the court and say, oh, I think Jennifer has, you know, been a terrible mother and a terrible wife. I don't think those things at all. I think that, you know what I mean, you've done the right things, okay? And I would be honest in that, okay? You know, what would happen to you, you know, what potential sentences and those kinds of things, man, that's all for people above us. That's for prosecuting and attorneys to make on charging decisions and judges, you know. That.
Even though everything the detective said is true, he also knows that the charges for second-degree murder is usually 25 years to life. But the prosecuting attorney may lower the sentence based on the facts of the evidence, which includes how much she struggled in life.
It was horrible. What did happen? I thought, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I made it look like someone tried to hurt me and came in and...
Okay. I want to make sure on a couple things, though, that are important, okay? Brady had nothing to do with any of this.
No.
Swear.
I swear to God. No, I swear to God.
And he doesn't know anything about it. He didn't help you set the scene up or anything. You truly...
God. I swear to God. Okay. I swear on my life. I swear.
Well, I know. I believe you if you swear that it's the truth. But
I do.
But I have to ask you that. I have to be clear on that.
I do. Brady had absolutely nothing to do with it. He was so startled.
Mm-hmm.
When I went down there, because I was on the phone with 911. When I went down there to ask him, he was asleep. You know, he was dead asleep, and I called his name twice, and then he finally woke up. You know, with the big eyes, like, what the hell is going on, Mom?
Right.
You know.
So his reactions, which they seem like they're all very normal and appropriate for somebody in that situation, that's all legit.
Yep.
Okay.
Brady knew nothing about it. Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Did anybody know about it?
No. No.
Carrie, nobody?
Nobody.
Okay.
Nobody.
Okay, I believe you. How long had you been thinking about it, though, that night? I mean, like you say, you were up all night.
I went to sleep at one point.
Okay.
Because we went to sleep, and I think by the time I actually fell asleep, though, it was like probably 12:30. And then I woke up at 4:30 to my alarm.
Okay.
And I shut that off, and I had fallen back asleep.
Okay.
And then when it was 5:30, that's when I all of a sudden got into a panic and went. Because I had taken some meds.
And you hadn't had much sleep.
So, it just makes me sick even thinking about it. And what I did.
I know. I'm sure it's been just killing you the last few days.
It's been killing me since the day it happened.
Mm-hmm. I think when we were talking to you too.
Yeah.
That it shows. It's clear.
It's a lot to carry around.
I don't know how I'm gonna live with this the rest of my life. I don't know how. But the other thing is, though, is I know that Jim is in heaven. And that Brady will someday go to heaven. And then if I try to take my own life, I won't be with them. Because that just crossed my mind, too.
Well, and I would just encourage you, please don't try to push those thoughts out, because you know what? You made a mistake, but you're still Brady's mother, and you're going to be his mother for the rest of his life, and you need to continue to do that, Okay.
Yeah.
That
Even if it is for my jail.
She can't help but wonder about her life after she leaves this interrogation room, which is pushing this simple confession into an hour-long interrogation. Also, it's hard to pinpoint when she thought of murdering him, but if you consider the life insurance policy fact of this case, we can confidently say that it was long overdue.
Start, I guess.
let's start Monday night.
Monday night. Okay.
Let's start Monday night. You're with Carrie, right? She was not doing well, not feeling well. Is that true?
Yep.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yes, that was very true. We talked about, let's see, what did we talk about? She wasn't feeling good. We talked about all at work, you know, because they had tried to, I guess, get her to work and didn't work. And the bosses were mad because they had made her come in on Sunday, and I guess she had a work note saying she wasn't supposed to be there and stuff.
Okay.
So then we went out to Monpause because of the whole, there had been people with flashlights and stuff in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out there to check to make sure everything was okay.
So that's all true too. That wasn't made up or anything about this. Okay.
And Yukon freaking out the other night.
Mm-hmm.
That was true too.
Okay.
Yeah, that was true too.
Okay.
It's horrible though, you guys.
I know.
And yes, I had to, Jim, there was a gun Jim had bought for me.
That's true too.
That's very true.
Okay.
Jim bought the gun for me, wanted me to learn how to target practice.
Mm-hmm. Was he, when you got home Monday night, was he already home or did you get home first?
He was home first and then I got home. He was outside dinking around. So I said, you want to help? Or I said, do you want me to target shoot? Because you've been wanting me to target shoot. He bought me that gun.
Mm-hmm.
So we target shoot, or we did our target practice or whatever, went inside, got a little to eat. Brady and I had our first. Yeah, I think we shot first.
Then went inside.
And then went inside to eat.
Okay.
Yep. And then me and Brady had our little meatball fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I came back upstairs and had finished off the rest of the meatballs and the mashed potatoes, and Jim had been making some other leftovers and stuff for him. And then I put the dishes away and I brushed my teeth, and then Jim and I went and sat on the couch and watched TV. And he had set the gun in the corner.
Where at? In which room?
In the, but next to the sliding glass door.
Okay.
He set that in the corner, and I knew the ammo was up there too.
Okay.
Because we had put that there.
And he had showed you how to load the gun.
Mm-hmm.
How to, and can.
Yeah, because we went deer hunting the year before. I mean, he was trying to teach me how to do all of that with any type of gun that he was getting me to use. So. And then we watched the news until 10:30 and went to bed. He was after me about sex a lot, and that was something that bothered me.
Okay, caused some friction between you two?
Yeah.
Speaking of sex, there is still not a single mention of her boyfriend, Greg, and their affair. The detectives already know about the affair, but choose not to bring it up, because for her to confess this much, she had to be given hope that she's a good person, and that her intent has always been to give Brady the best life. The detectives have to make sure that she doesn't fall into hopelessness. Otherwise, her confession will only be half done.
I had taken some pills before I'd gone to bed.
Do you remember how many?
Probably like 6 or 8. Which sometimes when I do that I have a hard time sleeping to begin with, because that is how it messes with you sometimes.
It's kind of like make you agitated.
It does. It kind of keeps you up, makes you dream, stuff like that. And so I woke up alarm went off at 4:30, and I had shut it off. And I think I had a couple more pills laying on the nightstand that I had taken. I'm trying to remember if I had water there, if I just took them dry. I don't even know. And I had fallen back asleep though. And I woke up at 5:30 in a panic. And that's when I went out and I got the gun. And I loaded one shell. And I came back into the bedroom. And there was a throw blanket laying on the end of the bed. So I took that and kind of rested the gun on his shoulder. And they just kept saying, "He's the devil, he's the devil." Yes. And I pulled the trigger. Oh, God.
It's okay.
Oh my God, I'm just so sick of this. This is not me. I am not this person. I put the gun down and realized he was bleeding. And I panicked and I went to go find his phone and I couldn't find it, so I had to run out to the craft room to get mine.
Okay.
I called 911 and I went back in to check on him. I couldn't feel a pulse.
Where did you check, on his neck or his wrist, or?
I think I checked on his wrist and his neck.
Okay.
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I can't.
But at that point, you knew he was gone.
The interrogation is almost at its end, as the detectives now have her confession and intent to kill. However, to make sure that she's giving this confession with full awareness and not under the influence, it's necessary for the detectives to support the confession with follow-up details which will later seal the deal on the fact that she was not insane or having a psychotic episode when this happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said that there was a throw rug, is what you describe it as?
Throw blanket?
Throw blanket.
Yeah.
And you put that up there on his shoulder and rested the gun on it.
Mm-hmm.
Was that for any other reason other than to stabilize the gun? Were you trying to make it quieter so that Brady wouldn't wake up or anything like that at all? Or was that your thinking at that time, to not wake up Brady or not?
No, maybe not. I think because I was shaking so bad, it was rattling.
Okay. Just like you were trembling?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though Jim was a heavy sleeper, but...
Mm-hmm.
How do you take someone's life and then go on with your own? I don't know how. Do you have any other questions for me? I think I need to go lay down.
Yeah, just one other one. It was the same gun that he had taught you to shoot?
Yes.
And what kind of gun is that? I mean, is
it a 12 gauge or a 20 gauge?
Is it a shotgun?
It's a shotgun with a scope.
Okay. And it's the action, do you know what kind of action it is? How you have to load a bullet in it?
Like a semi-automatic? Is that what you mean?
Do you have to pump it?
You have to pump it.
Okay. Is that
in order to...
Okay, because there is another gun up there that Brady brought up.
Yes.
And I just want to verify we're on, because we'll have to sort that out, and our scientists will have to do that. And you used the ammunition you said was the same ammunition?
Yep.
And it was what kind? Was it birdshot or slug?
It was slug, I think.
Okay. And do you know the difference?
No. To be honest, I don't.
Okay.
No.
But that's what you were shooting outside was slugs.
I believe it was slugs.
Which is what you use for deer hunting, is what he was having you practice with.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
And I know Mike said that we weren't going to push you. And
As regretful as she sounds, we can't help but remember that she took some time to throw her stuff around so that she could stage it as a burglary attempt. This will not only clarify her botched attempt to cover up her deeds, but it will also cover a big claim that she made against James, that he was physically abusive.
is it okay if I ask you? Because I was wondering too, and because we had talked that morning and stuff, and then I went in there and you were on the couch sitting there with Brady. Things are kind of, there was stuff laying there in the room, and there was a chair that was moved and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When did all that stuff get put in the room or changed, or? Because our assumption was that you kind of set that stuff up.
It was before or after.
Okay.
Do you remember though what was put out there and moved around and stuff?
I know I had pushed the chair. I disheveled the chair.
Yeah.
The like rocking.
Yeah, the
type
rocking
chair.
chair with the newsstand next to it.
Okay.
And the rope and the knife.
Okay. And where did the rope come from?
It was on the counter.
Okay. And the knife is a kitchen knife?
Yeah.
And then the sai, that big weed cutter thing,
Mm-hmm.
How does that come into play in this? Were you thinking that would help your story about an intruder, or
It was out in the garage.
in the attached garage?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you brought that in there
Yeah.
and just laid it down?
Yes.
Okay. That would have been before you called 911, though.
Yes.
I know I just have a couple other quick questions. When I talked to you before, remember I asked you about impact spatter on your clothing?
Yeah.
The clothing that we collected from you, was it the clothing you were wearing at the time?
Yeah.
It was. But you were very confident that there would be no impact spatter on there. Why is that? Or
Oh, I don't know.
you just were playing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that day you said, there won't be any blood spatter on my clothing.
I didn't. I don't even remember that, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. I just was wondering if you had changed clothes or something, or why you were, because you were very confident in that answer. And I just was curious because, usually when there's something where there's a gunshot, as you know, there's blood splatter and it gets on your clothes, and a scientist can look at that and see that it's a different type of stain, versus, and just the last couple things. So the cuts on your legs, you inflicted?
Yes.
The marks on your neck?
Yes,
you
they were
inflicted.
self-inflicted.
Brady didn't help you inflict any of those things or do any of that?
No.
I know you said he's not involved, but I'm just making sure. The one mark on your neck looked like a fork mark? Like a fork? What did you use to make the marks on your neck, I guess, is what I'm asking.
A knife.
You used the knife to make the marks on your neck?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And same thing with your arms?
Yeah.
And the knife that you put out there, or a different knife?
No, the same knife.
That same knife.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't, and I know that, there's probably more questions. Is there anything that you want us to make sure that goes in the report that the prosecutor knows that, I know you're sorry, right?
Very
That's
sorry.
obvious. That's obvious. Have you talked to anybody and told anybody about this yet, Jen?
No.
Besides us?
No.
You've not called your dad or talked to anybody?
No.
Okay.
Now, you think that after all of this, the case would come to a natural end, but it turns out that Jennifer's defense attorneys went all out to prove her innocence. They started with a claim that she had no memory of the confession, which is when they demanded a full psychiatric evaluation. But that didn't last long, as she was determined competent to stand trial. Then, the defense raised more complications about her life. From PTSD to abuse in her marriage, they framed it as a quote-unquote act in the heat of passion. Notably, though, Jennifer never even filed a police report against Jim, meaning that there was no record of abuse. In June of 2012, she finally pled guilty to second-degree murder, and by doing so, she dodged the death penalty. She did finally offer a public apology for the murder of her husband, but only because of the wrongful death suit filed on behalf of James's family, who sought $1 million in damages from Jennifer. All she wanted was to have a life of plenty, where she could afford to send her son to the best school. But really what she wanted was someone to share the medical bill. And while James never shared the financial burden equally with his wife, he ultimately paid the ultimate price for it, with his life. If you enjoyed this video, well then be sure to subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon so that you're up to date on our latest crime videos. And if you think this case was horrific, well, you need to check out my video on the evil necrophile teen.